Welcome to the Iraqi Dinar Today Latest news, where we break down the most recent and reliable updates surrounding Iraq's evolving financial story. Imagine waking up to discover that the Iraqi dinar, once overlooked by much of the world, is now a central topic in global economic conversations. Many observers believe that moment might be closer than ever. Behind closed doors, quiet discussions and strategic movements inside Iraq's financial system are beginning to raise serious attention among international analysts, prompting renewed interest in what could be a pivotal chapter for the country's economy. Over recent weeks, talk has circulated across Iraqi and global media about the printing or planned release of smaller banknote denominations. Yet, according to officials familiar with the central bank's operations, no new or smaller currency notes have been officially introduced to the public. While public excitement continues to grow, those close to the system emphasize that the designs for denominations like the 10 and 50 dinar notes have not been shown, displayed, or distributed in any capacity. For now, the Central Bank of Iraq appears to be maintaining strict control over every detail of this process. This silence, however, may be intentional rather than passive. When major institutions step back from public commentary, it often signals careful preparation rather than inactivity. Sources within Iraq's banking network report that staff and regional financial administrators are in a waiting phase, anticipating final clearance for what some insiders call the activation stage. Every piece, from technology to citizen education, seems to be under review, ensuring that when changes happen, the transition will be smooth, structured, and stable. The question now turns to who will give that final go-ahead. Recent television reports in Iraq have mentioned ongoing coordination with global financial powers, particularly the U.S. Treasury, Britain, and France regarding potential adjustments to Iraq's currency value. This level of dialogue highlights how significant any shift would be. A move toward aligning Iraq's dinar closer to international benchmarks, even approaching a 1-to-1 ratio with the U.S. dollar, would mark a historic turning point for the nation's monetary policy. Experts following this development say such discussions indicate growing confidence in Iraq's internal financial strength. Matching the U.S. dollar is not a small ambition. It represents a signal that Iraq believes its economy is ready for greater international recognition and stability. If such an alignment were ever to occur, it would naturally be accompanied by the release of smaller, more practical notes, allowing for easier day-to-day transactions within a stronger monetary framework. For many economists, the potential next phase following such a move would be a controlled float of the dinar, allowing its value to be determined by market dynamics rather than fixed intervention. Some historical analysts note that Iraq's currency once held significant strength decades ago, but they emphasize that any restoration of value must happen responsibly and gradually to maintain confidence among citizens and international partners alike. Inside the country, subtle movements have already been observed. The U.S. dollar's dominance within Iraq's domestic market has reportedly eased slightly, and the dinar has shown slow, steady signs of strengthening. These incremental gains may seem small, but experts argue that gradual improvement is often a positive indicator of government oversight and monetary discipline. Sudden changes could trigger uncertainty, while measured progress helps build public trust and market stability. At the same time, Iraq's broader political and diplomatic landscape is playing a crucial role. Strengthened partnerships with Western nations and renewed emphasis on sovereignty have positioned Iraq as a country taking deliberate steps toward financial self-reliance. International leaders have publicly voiced confidence in Iraq's reform efforts, underscoring that monetary value is deeply linked to political trust and national credibility. According to policy insiders, Iraq's currency reform plan will not be rushed. Authorities appear focused on ensuring that every citizen understands how to handle, exchange, and recognize the new currency when the time comes. Officials have studied previous international examples where abrupt transitions led to confusion or panic, and they are determined to avoid repeating those mistakes. Instead, a carefully paced rollout is expected, protecting citizens and giving markets time to adapt. Analysts suggest that before any large-scale change can occur, Iraq must first finalize several key economic agreements, particularly those related to oil revenues and national budget allocations. These frameworks are essential to ensure that any currency reform is supported by real economic backing. Observers describe these agreements as the final pieces in a long-running puzzle, the foundation required for a stable and credible monetary shift. Still, differing opinions remain. Some economists warn that the timing may not yet be ideal. A major concern involves the significant volume of Iraqi dinar held outside the country, reportedly in the trillions. This offshore liquidity, owned by institutions, investors, and private holders, poses a challenge. If Iraq were to sharply increase the dinar's value, it could lead to large inflows that might disrupt the domestic economy. Because of this, many experts believe a gradual appreciation is the more responsible and sustainable path forward. This phased approach would give Iraq's leadership time to manage inflation, maintain control over money supply, and safeguard citizens from price volatility. It would also reassure global partners that the country's progress is anchored in long-term financial stability, rather than short-term speculation. In short, patience may prove to be Iraq's greatest strength in executing this transformation. Meanwhile, researchers monitoring Iraq's official communications point out that there has been no verified confirmation of any new note releases. The central bank's website and public statements make no mention of redesigned currency or instructions for exchange. This suggests that while groundwork may be underway behind the scenes, the official launch remains in a preparatory phase. Transparency and timing are at the core of this process. Broader regional and global factors could also play a role in determining Iraq's next steps. Economic observers note that any revaluation or reform could align with major international events, such as global financial adjustments, oil production agreements, or political milestones within Iraq. International organizations, including the IMF, have consistently emphasized that Iraq's currency modernization is a long-term initiative that must unfold carefully to preserve stability. On the ground, Iraq's economy continues to show signs of modernization. The expansion of digital banking platforms, foreign investment partnerships, and large infrastructure projects are all reshaping the financial environment. These developments gradually increase the dinar's intrinsic strength by building real economic productivity. Over time, currency values naturally adjust to reflect such improvements, but the process is guided by fiscal management and institutional discipline. Even as optimism grows, officials continue to warn citizens against misinformation and unverified rumors spreading online. Claims of secret exchanges or insider access to new notes have been firmly denied by the authorities. The central bank reminds the public that any legitimate updates will come directly through official channels. Protecting citizens from scams and speculation is a top priority as anticipation builds. Another area of public focus involves taxation and compliance. Experts remind citizens that if and when currency reforms take place, all financial activities must follow legal guidelines. Large exchanges or conversions can carry reporting requirements, and ignoring those could lead to serious penalties. Remaining informed and compliant is essential to ensure that any economic changes benefit the population as intended. Looking at the larger picture, Iraq's financial transformation represents more than just numbers on paper. It reflects a nation's determination to rebuild, modernize, and reclaim its position on the global stage. The progress toward a respected and stable currency is symbolic of Iraq's return to confidence, sovereignty, and economic independence. Each cautious step taken today sets the stage for a stronger tomorrow. As we close today's report, one reality stands clear. Iraq's journey toward financial renewal is actively unfolding, though at its own deliberate pace. The steady strengthening of the dinar, the coordination with international partners, and the structured preparation for new currency issuance all indicate that momentum is building. Whether it takes weeks or months, Iraq is undeniably moving toward a more resilient and transparent financial era. The world is watching, and the next official move could mark one of the most significant currency moments in modern history.